The Keeper of Lost Things. Arthur Pumble was a collector, but not of stamps or coins. Arthur collected lost things: a single blue mitten, a key with no lock, a faded photograph of a smiling stranger, a ticket stub for a train going nowhere in particular. His small, cluttered flat was a museum of forgotten moments. For 30 years, since the day his own fiancée, Eleanor, had vanished from a busy train platform, leaving behind only the silver locket he'd given her, Arthur had made it his mission to rescue the lost. He believed that every lost thing held a fragment of a story, a whisper of a life interrupted.
One rainy Tuesday, he found a small, leather-bound notebook in a puddle outside the public library. It was sodden, its pages blurred with ink. He dried it carefully with his handkerchief and took it home. For days, he let it rest by the radiator, and when it was finally warm and dry, he gently pried it open.
It wasn't a diary, but a sketchbook. Every page held a beautifully detailed drawing of a door. A grand, oak door with a lion's head knocker. A bright blue rustic door with peeling paint. A mysterious, crooked door set into a hill. There were hundreds of them, each one unique, each one rendered with such love that they seemed almost real. On the last usable page, written in a frantic, smudged script, were the words, "Which one is real? I've forgotten the way home." Arthur's heart ached. This wasn't just a lost object, it was a lost person. The artist was losing their way, not just in the city, but in their own mind. He had to find them. He started with the most distinctive door, the one with the lion's head knocker. He took a photo of the sketch and walked the oldest parts of the city, looking for a match. Days turned into weeks. He showed the picture to shopkeepers, postmen, and elderly residents sitting on park benches. Just as he was about to give up, an old florist, arranging bouquets in, and said, "Oh, that's on Hemlock Street. The old Henderson place. Been empty for years." Arthur's hands trembled as he stood before the very door from the sketch. It was exactly as drawn, though more weathered. He felt a strange pull, a sense of being close to the answer. He asked a neighbor about the house. The Hendersons. The neighbor said, "Sad story. The wife, Alara, was a lovely woman. An artist. She started getting forgetful a few years back. Her husband moved her to a care home called Sunny Meadows last year. She always did love drawing the doors in this neighborhood." Arthur didn't waste a moment. He went straight to Sunny Meadows. At the reception, he explained his purpose, holding up the sketchbook. The nurse's face softened. "Alara," she said, "she doesn't speak much anymore. She just draws." He was led into a sunlit common room. In a chair by the window sat a frail, elderly woman with a faraway look in her eyes. On her lap was a blank sheet of paper. The nurse approached her gently. "Alara, a visitor for you. He has something of yours." Arthur knelt before her, his own age-weary bones complaining. He held out the leather-bound sketchbook. Her eyes, clouded and distant, dropped to the book. For a long moment, there was nothing. Then, a slow, trembling hand reached out and touched the cover. Her fingers traced the familiar leather, and a single tear traced a path down her wrinkled cheek. She looked from the book to Arthur's face, and for a fleeting second, the clouds in her eyes parted. There was a spark of recognition, not of Arthur, but of the kindness of the act. She didn't need to find the real door anymore. Arthur had brought a piece of her home back to her. He hadn't found his Eleanor, but in reuniting Alara with her lost memories, he had mended a fracture in the universe. He had given a lost thing back to its owner, and in doing so, he felt a small, long-frozen part of his own heart begin to thaw. He left Sunny Meadows as the sun broke through the clouds. He was still the keeper of lost things, but now he understood that his collection wasn't a museum of sorrow, but a lighthouse, sending out beams of hope, guiding forgotten fragments back to where they belonged.